Every year we have these celebrations, and every year it has been gaining momentum, and because of its interesting components in terms of the variety of activities for the entire week, which are quite absorbing for students, and particularly for those students who read. And all of us know the importance of reading, I think. There are several very interesting quotes on reading. Maybe I can have one or two things here rated here. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies, because you read a lot of books and a lot of characters, and you live those characters sometimes. But the man who never reads lives only one.
So one such personality is Thiru Udaya Chandran. He is here with us today. So we are very happy, honored and privileged to have you here, sir, and talk to our students. So coming to the Library Week celebration, like every year, we are conducting this week-long celebration for around 10 years. And this year also we have conducted a number of events for the past 4 days. And we have conducted around 10 events. And we have got 27 of you have going to receive prizes for all those events. Altogether, around 200 of you have participated in all those events.
Of course, many of you know me as a book lover, so anything connected with the library, I am always interested. But more than that, Mr. Udaya Chandran is coming to our college for the first time during my term, and I got a great personal regard and affection for him. So many years of my service as well as outside, I have seen many librarians and visited many libraries. This is one of the smallest libraries in our institution, but the way it is being managed and the way the librarian is getting personally involved in every one of the activities, and the way she has involved the students is something very impressive, and I would like to congratulate her. For example, when we said 200 and odd students are participating, our total strength is only 700.
I'm really happy to share the stage with respected Mr. Swaminathan, IAS retired. With one minor objection, sir, where you uttered the word that you didn't have the privilege to serve with me, it should be reverse. I didn't have the privilege to serve with you. That's the correction I would like to make. And the principal and the librarian and friends. உண்மையிலுமே இன்று சற்று மகிழ்ச்சியும் நெகிழ்ச்சியும் உள்ள ஒரு நேரமாக நான் பார்க்கின்றேன். மகிழ்ச்சிக்கு காரணம் உங்களை போன்ற இந்த இளைஞர்கள் நூலகங்களை நோக்கி வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள் என்ற ஒரு செய்தியே மகிழ்ச்சியும் நெகிழ்ச்சியும் கொடுப்பதற்கு ஒரு மிக முக்கியமான காரணம். I would like to tend to speak in Chas Tamil wherever I go, but here probably I'll keep it bilingual, because I could spot some of them, some of the audience probably of non-Tamil origin probably. So let us make it bilingual if you want. A very small library of 3,500 books. So I just get into that, and then came out of 3,500 books of quality nature, not the kind of books that have been gifted to me kind of thing at all. Most of those books will go to the nearest library. I will donate to the nearest library. These are all the books which are nearer and dearer to my heart. I have accumulated over a period of time. So I thought I'll just scan it over my table. What are the books that are currently available on my table I am reading? Probably I thought I'll share it with you. That will be a probably it can convey to you what kind of person now I am. That will be the most appropriate word, I think. As it was rightly mentioned, I come from engineering background, so I tend to not to miss any technological way of looking at the life or projects or administration kind of thing. So normally I tend to have contemporary technological trends. I would like to lay hands on that particular aspects. big data, anything related to current big data or blockchain is current flavor of my thoughts. Big data, probably we can discuss about it few minutes later. And another book I'm currently reading is that Myth of a Strong Leader. It's a very interesting book. Analyzing the current modern political democracies across the globe. The author says that any institution, any country doesn't need a strong leader. If there is any strong leader, probably that particular person may tend to destroy the institutions available in that particular so probably in India probably may be more relevant to think about that. And another book about the Jallikattu protest. It's a book Tamil Thai Ezhuchi, Kudimechamugamum Adhigara Arasiyalum, probably heavily criticizing the government, probably the institution which I do belong. So I'm reading currently of that book. Another book called Coromandel, A Personal History of South India by Charles Allen. That book I'm reading. Currently, these are all the books I am reading. In Kindle, I'm reading another book called Keys to White House. Another interesting book. Alan Lichtman is a political science professor. Graduated from Harvard. He is the one person, in fact I don't know how many of you can remember or recollect, in 2016 when American presidential election was hardly debated, discussed all over the globe, and most probably 99% of the people across the globe were expecting that Hillary Clinton will win. Only 2 people predicted that Trump will win. He is one among them. The another person is Michael Moore. Probably I would suggest Michael Moore, you just you can watch his documentaries, one of the most powerful documentaries he has ever made about 9/11. Another one about the health system about in US, comparing it with Cuba and as well as NHS and Canada. He also predicted that Trump will win. It's an interesting concepts that he has identified 13 cousins. 13 cousins on macro platform. How is the economy? How is the election, midterm election results kind of thing? 13 keys are there. If the incumbent government scores more than 6 cousins in a positive, affirmative way, the incumbent party will win. That is the entire concept based on that. It's a beautiful book on that. In fact, I am working on Indian version of those keys. In fact, I've been testing it. I've been eagerly waiting for December 11th results so that I can apply it and then come out with the Indian context of kind of. In fact, the important thing he says that no amount of energy spent on electioneering, campaigning, discussions will never help in winning any election. It's only on macro platform, governance, economy, and that makes the difference. That is the key takeaway of that particular book. So these are all the books I'm reading on it. I will quote few examples of my interesting encounter with the books. Then probably I think we'll throw open the the entire house for your questions. So that probably it will be more meaningful, and then it can be a debateful, because I don't like, probably had I been in your place, probably I would not have been here listening to someone speaking for 1 hour, giving lecture and bhashan kind of thing. I hate advices, so I tend to hate advices to anyone. So big data is one particular area. I tend to forget the author's name, but probably I want to know. Before leaving the stage, probably I'll give it to you. Interesting concepts were there. Big data, as I already know, it's collection of huge amount of data, crunch it, and produce definitive patterns predictive patterns for decision making. If you sum it up, that is the easiest one I can come forward to deliver that. I'll quote a few examples. When Katrina cyclone hit the US coast, severe damages were there. A lot of people suffered and kind of thing and all. Out of that crisis, one particular organization saw an opportunity. That was Walmart. Walmart analyzed the trends of purchasing pattern on that particular period of distress. They analyzed and then picked up the pattern that the people in distress, especially during cyclones, they tend to purchase more on particular two items. One is a particular tattoo is a strawberry related breakfast kind of sandwich kind of. They tend to amass it, probably for a few days they can withstand the problematic situation. Second thing is torchlight. By learning this particular trend, when the next cyclone was about to hit the American coast, they withdrew all the materials, all such materials from the inland stores and packed it up into the coastline stores. All of the stores except Walmart, they exhausted all the materials quickly, but Walmart only was selling all these things throughout the coastline, made millions of it. An interesting predictive pattern came out when they analyzing the patterns. It's an interesting one that if an American male aged between 30 to 35 enters into a Walmart store on a Friday evening, if you 100% strike rate, even if it is 10% strike rate, we can position our highway patrol there, ambulance can be positioned there, highway patrol can be streamlined, police patrolling can be better, and we can position the road engineering alterations can be done earlier. Even if the strike rate is 10, we can save 1,500 lives every year in Tamil Nadu. That is the level at which the ideas from a particular book, whether it can be translated into action, it happens. In fact, there is a mention about my encounter with the conduct of elections in 3 panchayats in Madurai district. Somebody was asking, those 3 panchayats in Madurai district and one in Virudhunagar, the 4 panchayats were standing up against the all constitutional norms. I will put it in that way. They defined the dictates of constitution for 10 long years, but we conducted the elections in 3 months. How was it possible? Several people used to ask me. Normally I tend to avoid answering it because if I get into the trap, it will take 1 hour to explain. So normally I don't do that. So in a nutshell, I used to say that I come from engineering department. My basic discipline is engineering. I tend to look at any complex problem into deducing several small tasks and try to solve the smaller ones and then finally attack the core. That is the idea of any engineering man would like. Engineering is an attitude, nothing great about it. And second most important thing, probably this particular point may really appeal to you because you tend to specialize in social aspects. I don't know, my background is engineering. My optionals in civil services are sociology in preliminary exams, anthropology and Tamil literature in main exams. So it's a wider variety. So the main reason for our quicker access and solution provided to those 3 panchayats is that my understanding of the social problems and approach it in an anthropological way. So I reduced it to 2 lines. Normally sociologists will try to critically examine any issue, but an anthropologist will try to show empathy towards any particular issue, try to understand the rationale behind irrationality also and try to approach it. So that's the reason probably we could solve it in 3 months' time. So that's the way we approached it and then tried to do. Sometimes even the very presence of a book will make a lot of difference. You know, if you discuss with two different parties warring group, the presence of the collections or writings of Ambedkar book in your table will send a message to a particular group. When another warring group comes, discussing about the presence of greater flowery language and classical Tamil literature about their ancestors will put them off. So even the presence of a book will make a hell of a difference even in a law and order problem. So that's the experience with which we take it on. There was a mention about our attempt to redefine, redesign, relaunch our new textbooks. Reading a textbook is a different thing, and designing is another major one. So that journey probably, if I touch upon it, probably another 1 hour it will go. But again, we wanted to make it as a very vibrant tool to our students. Quality-wise, not only quality-wise, the printing quality, the cover. I don't know, had I time probably I would have shown you the textbooks, even the designs of it. And in fact, few days back they sent a chapter on local self-government about the Panchayat Raj, in the country, in the state. It's a pure academic way of putting in the chapter. I'm just telling you the background works of how to make that particular chapter to be more appealing to kids. I received the chapter. Again, it's a confessional statement that I do still offer consultancy to the education department, and they do consult me whether sometimes we give no frills attached consultancy services to school education department in bringing the book. I'm telling you how the chapter or a book gets shaped out of it. So I received a particular chapter on local self-government. It starts with our initial endeavors with the democratic norms with Uttarameru inscriptions, and then goes about British period, Ripper, and then 1935 Government of India Act, and there are 3 committees from Mehta Committee to Singhvi Committee, and then 73rd, 74th Amendment and the current state. So I corrected few of things, and I told them to insert few box items. The first box item, of course, about the Uttarameru inscriptions, what are the qualifications and other things. It's a Uttarameru Chaturvedi Mangalam. It belongs to a settlement. It was not open to all entire community, for a particular set of community. And second important thing about, I added the box item about Thandai Periyar. As chairman of Erode municipality, way back in 1917, Erode municipality was the first urban local body to provide piped water supply to its residents. Piped water supply to its residents, that was the first municipality, urban local body in the entire country. He did that, so we gave one box item on that. To have a contemporary kind of thing, so at the same time, again, Gandhi's thought on Gram Swarajya. There is a great economist Tamil Nadu has ever produced, J.C. Kumarappa. His thoughts on village economy, again on box item. And finally, there is a village panchayat in Coimbatore district, Vodandurai. If you Google it, you will find surprisingly about the performance in the particular village panchayat. The president was continuously elected for the 2 terms, and his wife for another 2 terms. Probably, I think, at present, I don't know. He may be touring in Canada, giving lectures about local self-government. He recently went to Toronto, kind of thing. Interesting thing is that that particular village panchayat mobilized resources, got loans from banks, put up windmills, and saved the electricity bills to repay that particular loan. One of the first full-fledged self-reliant village panchayat in Tamil Nadu. So we gave that box item to make it relevant, to make it contemporary, to make it vibrant. Otherwise, that particular book or chapter will be very, very theoretical one. So it makes it connected one. And then finally, the activities part. If you have any problem in facing or getting the essential services like roads, water supply, whom do you approach? These are all the questions we are given the activity wise to the students. Finally, the QR codes. The quick response code. First time we introduced in the textbooks of Tamil Nadu. I think 3 or 4 states have concurrently, simultaneously attempted. Telangana, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, but they could not succeed too much. We provided the QR codes and linked it up with the videos or video lessons kind of thing. Actually, we started with a very minimal kind of intervention only, with reluctance, whether it will be accepted, whether it will be technically feasible to upload all those things, and then across the state, even in remote areas, whether it will be able to access that. So there are a lot of technicalities we really discussed about it, the printing quality, and then the size of it, whether it will be able to succeed or not. Surprisingly, beating all our expectations, it went on to become a mega hit, and to the extent that every day around 2 lakh people are accessing that. Every day 2 lakh people are accessing the QR code embedded in our textbooks. It starts from nursery rhymes, both in Tamil and English, with animation, with music composed by trusted juniors of A.R. Rahman, with no free of no cost kind of thing, as they came out with supporting the textbook. To the political science or the zoology or botany kind of video lessons by the reputed teachers. So every day 2 lakh downloads. In the entire country, our textbooks are the most energized one and accepted and appreciated by the one and all kind of thing. But the background behind it is that we were initially reluctant. We were thinking whether it will succeed or not. But surprisingly, that the people of Tamil Nadu have got a keen interest to embrace technology to take it forward. And in fact, we studied the patterns also, that the management is not very particular about punctuality, because punctuality normally doesn't exist in my lexicon, but this particular organization normally sticks to that. If you have any questions, few questions, probably we will tend to answer, make it more democratic, and then leave the stage. Yeah.
Sir, I'm
I'm a BSc psychology student, sir, so I do not know much about politics, but I do know this, that every day when I get up to read the newspapers, there are different sections, right, in newspapers, but the only thing that I notice all over the newspaper
is local and current politics or national politics. But having heard so many civil service officers speaking on various occasions in our college, I find that they do a plethora of work. They do so much of work. But why does limelight, and why is politics being spoken about so much in our country, but nothing about administration, management, and actually doing things in this country?
In fact, I can answer it in a more personalized and an anecdote kind of thing. When we were in the education department, of course, the situation warranted few surgeries to be done in education department, we did it. That is what I used to say. Whether it is abolition of ranks or introducing +1 public exams and so many things we did, but the situation warranted. Suddenly, one negative news appeared in the press. I don't know whether any press friends are there. Okay. Suddenly, one innocuous news appeared in the press about negatively, which is not true. If it is true, then probably we will be taking any corrective actions and all. Absolutely false appeared in the newspaper. One of my friends, is a literary friend who won Sakit Academy Award and all, we used to discuss kind of thing. And he rightly told that the news is always about the exception. News is always to garner the attention. If the education department is doing well, there is nothing news in it. If it is any negativity, it will be portrayed. So Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli continues to score centuries. Kohli scoring century is not a news. For the first time in a single digit in Adelaide Test match yesterday, he got out. That is news. So news is always an exception. That is one. Second thing is that it's all about expectations. People in Tamil Nadu used to enjoy certain degree of public services, want more. Why don't we give? I can't compare it with any other states and then saying that Tamil Nadu is good. Your job is to provide better services, whether you are doing it or not. So it's about exception, it's about expectation. I think I answered it.
Sir, my only question is that using the power of big data, can you transform the politics in Tamil Nadu?
Another point, if you really I don't know whether I'm capable, permitted as per the contact rules to answer this question, I don't know. But I can say, politics is just one way of looking at the society. If the society behaves in a certain manner, it will lead to the expectations, politicians, governance in a certain manner. So you have to address the core of the society and its governance. Politics is just a front end. Politics is just a front end. If the voters, if the people expect or behave in a more qualitative, mature way, they will have the front end and the back end. So big data, I would say that again, you'll have to take it with a pinch of salt. I recently read a book about the pitfalls of using big data. And normally being an engineer, I do have scant regard for technology. Technology is just a tool. Normally we get swayed and carried away with technology. We should not. We should use it as a tool. Whether we can use it for cutting apples or killing someone or threaten someone should be decided by you, not the tool. So you should really, master yourself to use the technology. The pitfalls of big data, if you Google it or study anything, it's biased. It's biased. Say for example, you have data, you accumulate data, based on that particular data you predict something. Say for example, last 50 years of data you take about the criminal system or any delinquent actions happen in Tamil Nadu. Probably it may be biased towards minorities or oppressed sections. That data will be biased. It happened in US. It was against the African Americans. Say for example, if any murder takes place in New York suburbs, the big data will indicate a particular person of African American living in a particular locality. But the truth will be something else. So you'll have to take it as carefully you'll have to address. It's just a tool. It may aid in your decision making. Say for example, I was telling my education department people, you can also think about that. If you have the complete data of a particular kid entering into your school in the first standard, say for example, that particular kid in a remote village, I'm saying, or any urban area also. If you collect the data about the kid their social background, parent, their occupation, nutritional status of the current particular thing. Any siblings, whether they have studied in the school or near that, their academic performance, elder siblings' academic performance. With all this data, coupled with that particular school's performance, teachers and other performance, you can predict a kid entering into your first standard. We can easily predict how many marks that kid will score in 10th or 12th standard. Of course, with a variance level. Definitely we can see. So probably with big data, I can be able to pinpoint which area I should really concentrate. It's easily possible. If you have the data of all the electrical poles in the city, the kind of spare parts they use, the companies of the spare parts, which company light they are using, LED or kind of thing, what kind of wires they are using, how many times the repairs have happened in the past, whether a particular engineer has done it or better or not, those details if you predict, if you collect the data and crunch it, you will be able to predict in which area in a particular monsoon period the lights will go bust. It's easy to predict. And a particular company would have done probably produced, supplied substandard material, or a particular engineer would have not have taken any precautionary measures, or that particular area will be very vulnerable. You can easily predict. In New York underground sewage system, they are using big data where the problems will arise. It's easy. But again, it's not a panacea, it's just a tool.
Actually, to be noticed, both of the questions that were asked now were related to politics. So back then, people of the current generation back then, they were all quite interested in civil services and all those.
Even
but then the rate, as of I know. So, but recently I could see so many youngsters, interested in politics when compared to the previous generation and all those. How do you see this change, and is it a positive transformation?
I don't know. Naturally, people, getting into this kind of adventurous stint, looking at the adventurous stint in this uncharted territory, it's always welcome. But they should come out with proper plan, proper understanding of the ground issues. That is more critical in my opinion. Just a kind of theoretical thing will not help. Probably you are the best example. Social work students who are working in the field, getting to know and coming out with the solutions will be more ideal than sitting in an air-conditioned room in an IT sector trying to address the issues. Probably you'll go back to those basics, get back to the villages, get back to ground realities and come out with that. Anytime, fresh blood is always welcome. Fresh blood is always welcome. So nothing wrong in that.
We saw the transformation in education department. How about our college department embracing technology? Are there any new initiatives, sir?
Sounds like annual performance appraisal of course, all of my friends, normally, including press, were expecting that the moment I joined, a lot of bombarding things will happen, kind of thing. And I'm just lying low. But I can tell you that I never tend to miss the technological use in any department I work. I worked in tea sector. We launched the electronic tea auction for the first time among the tea producing nations in the world. There are very few tea producing nations in the world. There are select auction houses. In fact, the London auction house was shut down in late 90s. All of them were at that time manual operations. We launched it in the first time. An interesting thing happens when the tea auction, electronic tea auction system was launched by the then Chief Minister in Nilgiris, when Madam was there. We were about to print the invitation. So with that I sent a proposal that the first in the world. The higher ups at Chennai St. George Port was really threatened. Really is it in first in the world? Then I explained. There are only very few. There are 7 tea-producing nations, and all the 7 nations were only manual work. So it's a first only kind of thing. So then to tone down the exaggerated claim, we said that among the tea-producing nations in the world, so that our claims were moderate enough to appeal with humility to everyone. I never tend to miss the technology development. I firmly believe that technology can really solve the social evils. It may sound very odd to you. Technology can solve this, even the social evils in Indian context. This is the hypothesis I keep always testing it. Say for example, the persons engaged in sewage working, that is one of the social evil identified by the sociologists, leaders. Supreme Court has banned it. Still there are practice of it. A few people die and kind of thing and all. This is a social evil. The solution so far attempted by the government and the society is about the enlightenment, education and rehabilitation of the workers. Nothing has worked to that particular expected level. In my opinion, the jet rodding machine will serve the purpose rather than the other things. Coupled with all these things, jet rodding machine will render them jobless to force the government to provide them any other employment. So technology will solve the problem. So coming from that background, I always tend to feel that technology can provide the better solutions. In archaeology, we found one interesting usage of it. Excavations. You might have noticed about the excavations at Kiradi. Kiradi excavations have been done. The 5th phase, we got the permission from Government of India. All the excavation, with the due respect to the great archaeologists in the country, all the excavations are, the sites are located by identifying the surface markers. Small, surface markers of the mound will be there. Mostly they will be located nearer to the river. There is a river civilization across the rivers are the norms in the history. Surface markers are earthen redware surface markers will be there. So these are all the places they will enter into identifying and as well as excavation. The first time we are going to engage ground penetrating radar to identify what is lying underneath. So from 7 meters to 10 meter depth, the ground penetrating radars will give you the 3D views of what is underlying it. They are using it in Angkor Wat and other places. So we are tied up with a few academic institutions to engage that. So probably that will give us which particular location with clinical precision where to dig. Otherwise it's a blind kind of excavation. If we get it, it's a lottery. We don't want to do that. By tying it up with the ISRO, again with a paleo physiological research by academic institution, we can easily find out which area to be excavated. With ground penetrating radar, we can pinpoint where to dig it. So probably we are waiting for the monsoons and gajas to leave out Tamil Nadu, so to enter into that. And concurrently we are thinking of having multiple places. Most critical one, probably this observation may hold true for any academic institutions in the state. Probably I would like to, I don't know whether this particular organization also will fit into the bill. I find that the academic institutions in the state, in the country, or especially in Tamil Nadu, we are interested in universalization of services, but when it comes to quality, we are yet to improve slightly more. We found it in archaeology also that we have gone into the excavation and other things and all, but scientific validation by the reputed organization, peer review is slightly missing. That holds true for any academic institution. Peer review is mostly missing in our places, and concurrently, transparently, we will have to engage with the multiple organizations to collectively come out so that in the academic world or intellectual world will embrace that and take it forward. So that is missing in archaeology. We are trying to address that. So using technology and as well as this one is the need of the hour. We are looking at it probably in a month or two. We will try to address that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the so I always wanted to make it as a discussion, lively one, rather than மலை பிரசங்கங்கள் எப்பொழுதுமே இளைஞர்களுக்கு பிடிக்காது என்பது எனக்கும் தெரிந்தது. We really expect a lot of, in fact, probably a lot of things are they have to discuss about the social work and other things. And in fact, 2 days back we all our batchmates were discussing. We were discussing about one senior IAS officer, Harsh Mandar. He was our course coordinator in the academy. So probably that particular anecdote will be of great interest to you. In 1995, we entered into Mussoorie for undergoing training. That particular locality, that particular town, there are plenty of hand-pull and rickshaws. Hand-pull and rickshaws, I don't know how many of you know, hand-pull and rickshaws were abolished in the state of Tamil Nadu in 1970s. And probably Sir was in the helm of affairs. In 1970s, early 70s, it was abolished. Rehabilitation was done and completely abolished. But the city of God, city of joy, Calcutta still does have. Another town was Mussoorie. The training for continuously every year, the training for the civil servants do happen in Mussoorie, but the handful of rickshaws were there. It's the greatest irony to have a handful of rickshaws for the premier institution to render training to all the civil servants across the country. We were witness to history. In 1995, we saw the handful of rickshaws, and again, like everyone, we were criticizing about the presence. One officer, Harsh Mandar, he quit the service. He quit the service after the 2002 Gujarat riots. Still, he is very active in social work field. Very, very talented from Madhya Pradesh cadre. I think 79 batch, I suppose. He took up the cause. The entire, he had multiple rounds of discussion with the rickshaw pullers, understood their problems, understood where they come from, kind of thing and all. Chalked out a beautiful rehabilitation program, got funding from many organizations including Rajiv Gandhi Foundation that time, and implemented a scheme. We joined we went into the academy in 1995 September, I think. Came back for district training the next May. When we reported back for the phase 2 training one year back, we found no handful of rickshaws in the entire surprised to know. How did we do it? Had multiple round of discussions, funding, understood each and every handful of rickshaw owners' plight. The interesting thing is he had an understanding with the Roorkee National Institute at that time, REC, to devise a cycle rickshaw meant for hilly terrain. Because you need to have better variant for hilly terrains. Trained them, provided them, and interestingly, the handful rickshaw wallahs population will be reduced when they switch over to the new one because of the better efficiency and other things. So he ensured that the displaced number of people will get rehabilitated in their own native place by providing them assistance and other things. A single man abolished the handful of rickshaws in a city which was ruled and which is a city which trained so many administrators for over decades. So if a single person can do it, why not so many people here? Things are really to achieve in the state, achieve in the country. The universe is there to achieve and to change. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Technology, politics, administration, management, research, archaeology and what not. So even though you said it was unprepared, that was a speech with measured words and pauses. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. And I will read you the list of the books he had shared. Big Data, Myth of a Strong Reader, Tai Elichi, Coromandel, Keys to White House, Pitfalls of Big Data,